Yeah, I'm trying to figure. Everything's been great first to answer that, and the response has been good since, like, the music's a little different,
Yeah.
and with the new record we have coming out. So it was a little. I was interested to see how that was gonna kind of
Yeah.
play out,
Yeah.
but everybody seems to be excited about it. And the difference between past tours is just like I'm learning how to like sing and not lose my voice.
Oh, really? Have you had a problem with that in
No, not in the past, but with this stuff, it's like quite a
Yeah.
bit more challenging. So
The band's louder, the songs are
the... Yeah, you've got to push.
bigger, you know.
Have you developed a technique to save the voice yet, or are you just learning as you go?
try not to party, try not to talk too much. I have to like kind of. Once I leave stage, I just kind of like go hide out and like
Shut down.
yeah.
We started doing some like cool downs too,
Yeah.
you know, vocal cool downs.
Ah, very.
Cool that. Which I always thought that stuff was like kind of a joke, but
Now
it
it's a
actually
reality.
works.
Yeah.
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 People are like, what do you do for warm up? I'm like, warm up.
I have a couple glasses of whiskey usually.
Yeah. I'll be like, that was always the running joke. My warm up was just like clearing my throat and coughing. So
But now you're doing the full Mariah.
no way. It's mostly just humming. Just humming.
Oh, it's not sad.
You could
Well,
also,
those-
those are good.
Yeah.
Just stretching
Oh,
the mouth out.
stretching.
I mean, that's not so much your throat, but it helps your mouth get ready.
Get the hook, the devil
Try to-
hook.
Oh, yeah.
So, is there a particular place you are really looking forward to on the tour? Do you get to decide much where you get to go, or is it a predetermined journey?
For this trip, there was a lot of like promotional stuff we're doing and
Yeah.
setup for the record, so we didn't have a whole lot of say as to where we were going to go or not go.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like when I'm looking at routing, and I'll just be like, hey, we're not playing in these cities when we've gone through there before.
Yeah.
We should be stopping through there, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we make suggestions, and if there's like clubs we really like, we always
Yeah.
make note of that and tell the people we're working with.
Yeah. Have you got a favourite place?
Besides
Yes.
Manchester?
Yeah, obviously. Besides.
Duh.
I mean, Amsterdam's always fun. We have good friends that live there. So it's nice. They're from Colorado. So it's nice to be able to visit them when we're traveling. And the town we're from is kind of a Bavarian German town in Missouri. Like it was settled by
I like Munich, which is lame, but
I haven't been there yet,
Yeah,
but
no.
well, it's just like clean and
Yeah, it's quite
very.
expansive.
Heidelberg was cool.
yeah.
Our first show in London, I thought, was kind of
Yeah, in Shepherd's Bush we played.
at St. Stephen's Cathedral,
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
and so it was pretty ridiculous because at the time we played at a certain time of night or day, the lights coming in through the big stained glass windows on either side, so it was very Blues Brothers kind of.
Right,
It was pretty
extravagant.
epic.
Yeah. And then a bunch of friends of ours, other musicians who we hadn't seen in a while, were there.
Oh, nice. There's a good community.
Some from the States and some from London. So.
And that was the big test, like that was the big debut of this band over here. It was the
Right.
first show we did. We had a rehearsal space a couple days before that, and kind of did an open rehearsal, and everybody from the label and everybody we're working with came down, and but yeah, that was the big show, and it was packed, and it seemed like people really liked it, but we were a little nervous to see what the reaction
Yeah.
would be based on the kind of change, but yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, it worked out.
So do you find stuff like that inspires you more when you're on the road, or do you think you're more maybe productive when you get home and get settled again?
As far as like creating music, definitely at home.
Yeah.
As far as being on the road and like morale, those kind of shows are really great for
Yeah.
everybody in the band.
Yeah, and that's a weird thing we talk about on tour sometimes is how little you get to play
Yeah.
music, because you're traveling a lot, and we're not in a position where we're on a bus or anything where you actually can
Hang out,
wander
play.
around
Yeah,
and play.
chill.
We're in a van, and which is perfect for us, but and then you show up and you load in, and there's just not a lot of time for that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, the morale of the band, and there's two guys in the band, excuse me, that have never been over here before.
Oh, wow.
And the rest of us kind of have a few times at least, and
Yeah.
and so they're like excitement within the band has been pretty
Yeah.
amazing. You know.
Good stamp of approval from
Yeah.
the shows.
Yeah.
I heard you were drawn to recording in the kind of old style. It was like a group recording rather than a studio where everyone records and then it's mashed together. Is that correct?
A little bit of both, yeah.
Yeah.
We tried to do it in the old style where we just make sure that we weren't chopping things up. It was just everything was a really,
one performance.
yeah, just make it a one great performance. And,
Yeah.
because that way, it's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because nowadays you can get pretty caught up in like making sure, like moving it this way or that way, or
Yeah.
because you can break down each individual track to.
Who were we interviewing with, and they said something along those lines about? I think he said, "I'm really glad you left the mistakes in." And we said, "Wait,
Yeah.
can you hear mistakes?" But it was that idea that it's but that it feels like a real performance, and like all your vocal takes were pretty much all just.
Yeah. Well, I had one of like the first when I'd come back. We did like a couple of different sessions out with Richard Swift, our buddy who produced the record. And when we had like a show, so we came home to Denver, and I shared one of the songs or a couple of the songs with a friend of mine who runs a studio who's who's my friend's dad, and he was just like, wow, like one of the songs.
That's right.
He was like, wow, I was like so surprised. He's like, the guitars are wildly out of tune. I was like, oh, well. So they're just like.
It's all about the feel, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I had
authentic.
bought a couple of shitty guitars. I mean, they're nice guitars, but vintage guitars to record with while we were in Oregon. And I guess, they don't stay in tune that well, I guess. Yeah, they sound really cool.
Yeah.
But it's just like every take, so.
Yeah.
That's funny.
'Cause I've heard a thing from Jack White, and he purposely untunes his stuff, or he gets ones that are particularly difficult to tune to get that authentic.
Really?
Yeah, and he says
Shit
the challenge,
sound.
like
Yeah.
that's his excuse, maybe.
Well, that's
No,
part
but
of
he
that
says
same
the
idea.
challenge
Maybe he's
spurs
just
it on.
Yeah.
he's just wildly lazy.
Maybe. He's just not tuning you.
Yeah,
It's like,
like-
some
well.
purpose.
He's like, that's good enough.
But that's kind of, again, I think an antithesis to a lot of the over editing that can happen with music now.
Yeah.
To like try to keep that real feel in there. It's the same idea.
Yeah. Oh, cool. And I also heard that the studio you guys recorded was like a house and a studio attached.
It's just
You guys
we
loved-
we ended up doing like some of the horns we did like in my attic, and did some of them in our drummer Patrick's living room. But then Richard's house, Richard's studio is just like kind of it's more than a garage, but it's where the garage would be.
Yeah.
And it's just like one big room and then a control room. It's just pretty. And then his daughters live upstairs. So every once in a while you'd be doing a take and you hear. He'd be like, hold on. I'll be like, aren't they? He's like, oh, it'll be fine. Like, okay.
It's so different than like I think the idea that a lot of people have about what the recording studio has to be like, and we've even been through that too, where
Yeah.
you spend a lot of money on a facility with gear that you'll never actually use. You'll use such a
Or-
small percentage of it, and it's like a prestige thing, or it's the label wants you to make it at this particular place, and I think there's a lot of freedom this time.
But those places sometimes aren't really about making, feel as much about making music,
Yeah.
Where there's like an intern who's gonna like go get lunch for everyone. Like,
Yeah. More of just a
those things
corporate
are great
image
and
thing.
it's convenient, but we were just doing a song a day in the studio.
Yeah.
We'd start from nothing, and by the end of the day, it'd be completely done for the most,
Yeah.
most
So you
of the
find
time.
it more productive to be in a maybe more raw
Yeah.
setting.
And then we'd go get tacos. That was about it.
Yeah.
So it was like break for lunch, and then usually by then we were pretty loaded anyway. So
Is that the dream, do you reckon, to have the house that's like the musical hub?
I've always wanted that, but I don't necessarily want to live in that house.
Or you just want it as like a retreat?
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to leave your house, or even if it's like a separate building next to your
Yeah,
house.
to have like a workspace and a home.
Yeah, because my house is like work and It's everything.
Well, the practice spaces,
Right.
and the house had an unfinished attic, and we kind of finished it, and at least a room that was originally the rehearsal room, and now it's your
Now it's
bedroom.
my wife and I's bedroom,
And we
because it was like
practice-
the nicest room in the house. And I was like, yeah, I was like, why don't we just, yeah.
Yeah.
I scored a lot of brownie points on making that the bedroom
That's
instead of the
alright.
rehearsal room.
Yeah.
It's like, but the sunlight's so good and it's not all fucking cardboard on the walls, you know. So.
It'd be cool to have a place where you could like open a hatch on your floor and crawl through a
Like a
tunnel,
musical bunker.
Yeah.
and show up in your studio, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
'cause-
water slide.
Yeah,
and,
water slide.
But then as you like come to the end of the water slide, it's like a blow dryer, so you pop out.
And you're completely
Yeah,
dry.
yeah,
You'd be
exactly.
ready.
Hair's looking good.
Uh,
So you'd have your outfit. Good to
More
go.
hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come out like, whoa, came back. Yeah.
Nice. If you could have that kind of space, who would you want to invite if you could have anybody to like come and jam? Or would
Beck?
it just be
Love to jam with Beck.
Yeah.
It's always been a dream.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Donald Duck Dunn, maybe?
Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
is
bass
he still
player.
alive?
I'm not sure.
He's the bass player for Booker T and the MGs.
see if it
You trying to get rid of
could
me?
do it?
No. That's why I was like, I probably shouldn't say this.
Could share.
I want him to come and show you a few things.
Yeah.
So have you got a plan, like a future plan set out, or are you just seeing where this record takes?
We have a lot of work ahead of us. So, that's kind of all mapped out for like touring and that kind of stuff. But then, as far as like how it's received or that kind of stuff, it's not really up to us. So,
You see whether.
yeah, to see how, it's funny because Joseph and I have been playing together forever. So,
I think 21 years. I just
yeah.
figured out the other day.
And so we've had these like, what we think would be like life-changing career moments for music for us, and then they just totally bombed. And so I'm not saying shit about this
Yeah.
thing. So I'm
Well,
just,
it's like tiny little incremental steps that when you're, the first time you ever get that kind of attention, whatever attention that is that we're referring to, it could be from a label being interested or the right press or whatever, you feel like,
Yeah.
yeah.
whatever the idea of making it is, like, you feel like it's right at your doorstep. But, it's really just about doing it day in and day out, There's
Yeah.
not really a...
It's just really like, we're just gonna work hard and try to play great shows.
Yeah.
So.
What do you think is more key to success, having raw talent or having the work ethic?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
And I think, like raw talent's important, but there's, you can have great raw talent and just be a massive fuck up.
Yeah, too much talent can definitely like cause the ship to flip over a bit. I don't know if you're familiar with Gregory Alan Isaacoff. He's a singer-songwriter
He's
from.
like, and he's a massive fuck up.
Massive fuck
Yeah.
up.
You're
No.
listening, Gregory.
One of the first
Telling you
times,
now.
my wife and I's old band toured with him, and he said, I really believe the music industry is like one of the easiest. If you have any talent and are willing to just work, like. There's also this notion in Denver that people have talked about if you can keep a band together for 7 years, you'll get to a certain level of success that's somewhat sustainable. And part of that's just through sticking it out and building the audience and not giving up, But Gregory says the same thing, that it's just a matter of like being kind of tenacious and being willing to sustain it, which is hard, and it's easy to
Yeah.
burn out in this line of work for sure. So, I don't know, I think it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
For sure, as far as that talent equation goes.
So would that be your advice to budding, musicians to just keep going?
Stay in school.
Put the-
Yeah. There's a lot of really shitty music that people make a lot of money on, so
Yeah.
stick it out.
Make sure you have no integrity. And, go
Willing
for
to
what's
sell out at
popular.
any
Yeah.
level.
Try to come up with the next new thing that sucks and just fucking go for it.
Run with it.
Kiss everybody's ass. Yeah.
Work.
Yeah,
It's
don't
really
try to
work.
be original, or definitely don't try to struggle. It's not worth it.
Cool. Well, on that note, I will wrap it up. Thank you very much for talking with us,
Oh, our pleasure.
and I will let you get your your warm up going.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All your scales and notes. Right, thank you. Cute.